Today we are going to go over creating assignments in D2L, and hopefully everyone can hear me. I've been told my mic is very low, so I apologize if it is. Now, in your face-to-face classes, you guys probably collected a lot of paperwork from students, whether it be homework or papers themselves. But in D2L, we have what are called assignments. They used to be called drop boxes before, but once they did the update, they changed the name. And really, all assignments are just digital folders to keep student work in. You can post your instructions for an assignment there, and then the students upload their documents into that particular folder. So let's get started. To make a new assignment, what you're going to do is go to your class. So right now I'm in my fake sandbox class, and I'm going to go to course activities and then assignments. So homepage, course activities, assignments. And then because this is a blank class, I really don't have anything in here yet, so we get to start from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is hit new folder. You can choose to create assignment categories if you want. If I were teaching a full semester, I might have a lot of reading quizzes, but that I have them upload documents for. Or maybe I have papers and I have several papers throughout the semester, but then I also have just regular homework. Then I might want to build categories. But because we're so far along in this semester, I think most of you are only going to have a few assignment drop boxes. So I would say ignore categories for now and just start with new folder. Okay. And then all it wants us to do right here is go in and put in a name, although my computer is trying to auto-generate my own name in there. It's actually the name of your assignment. So I'm going to just build a fake assignment for now. I'm going to do a career exploration paper. Please try and name it something intuitively for your students. That way they know what it is they're clicking on. And then here's where you can input your instructions. Now, I prefer to keep this pretty short and sweet. If I want to give them extended instructions, I'll usually attach it instead. So I'm just going to say here, I have some text already, so I'm just going to paste it from Word into this box. And it just says, read the attached instructions and upload your finished paper here. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Now you can upload videos here, you can put links in, you can put pictures, whatever you like. But for me, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. And then I'm going to scroll down to attachments. I'm going to choose add attachment because this is where I'm going to add my instructions. If you want, again, you could put them here. It's completely up to you. So add attachment. And then I'm going to choose file. And it's going to prompt me to choose where I saved my instruction file on my computer. And upload. And then I'm just going to navigate to my EDUC examples. And I'm going to choose my instructions right here, click open. And then I'm going to click this add button once it looks like it's uploaded my file. Now, some people get some faculty get worried about putting, let's say, a Word document in here. It is true that students will be able to type in Word documents, but they can't ever change your original file here. So even if my instructions were in Word, and let's say the students changed all of my questions to say different things, this file would never change. So you don't have to worry about that necessarily. If you want to provide it to them in Word, you can. Sometimes long answer, I'll provide them a Word document. That way they can open it up and just type right in that document and then upload it back to me. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and just take a look at some of our other options. It'll ask if it's an individual or a group assignment. If you want it to be a group assignment, then what you're going to have to do is actually set up groups in D2L. It's a little complicated. I would say try and avoid that if you can right now, just because you're all in crunch time right now. Don't make things harder than they have to be. Maybe if you're going to have students do things in groups, just one person can submit, or they can all submit the same document, however you like it best. And then don't worry about this submission type. Come on down here. This is one of the most important options you're going to have for your assignment folder. So it asks, do you want the students to be able to upload an unlimited amount of documents or just one? So if this is, let's say you're going to have them submit a draft, but then you're going to have them submit the final after that, then you want to have unlimited. You don't want to just do one file. It won't allow them to upload anything. Usually I'll keep it at unlimited regardless of whether I want just one file or not, because inevitably you're going to have that student who does not understand how to use the upload feature and they upload the wrong document. And then there's a lot of fuss you have to go through to open the box back up for them in that case. But if you hit unlimited, then it's just easier. They can always go back in and re-upload their document. And it does timestamp everything, so it's not like you have to worry that you won't know when they submitted it to the Dropbox. Okay, and then under submissions, we have, if you do unlimited, do you want to keep all submissions, only the most recent one, or is only one submission allowed? So I'm going to say all. I would not advise using this notification email box. And the reason why is because it will email you every single time someone submits to this box. We didn't assign a category, or we didn't make any categories, so we don't have to choose anything from this box here. And then if we go all the way down to the bottom here, we have the opportunity to link a grade item to this particular assignment Dropbox or assignment folder. I don't have my gradebook set up in this course, so I don't have any to choose from. But if you did, you could link it here and then it will auto-populate the preview. It'll say, uh, the blank slash out of 100 points, if that's what my grade item is set up for. So before I go any further, because that was a lot of options, do I have any questions? And that was kind of fast. Okay. So if you do have a question, feel free to throw it into the chat. I'll keep an eye on it on the side. But otherwise, I'm going to show you a few more options. So we're not going to hit save and close just yet. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. And what I would like to show you is this restrictions tab. So for some reason, and I don't know why D2L decided to do this, but in one of the updates, it decided that from now on, every time you build an assignment folder, it's going to automatically hide it. I don't know why. You do not have to keep it hidden, but do remember this button is here in restrictions. So I'm going to uncheck this box so my students will actually be able to see my assignment box. And then I'm going to scroll down. And here you have the option to go ahead and add start, end, or due dates onto your assignment. Now, this might be familiar information for some of you, but for anyone, if this is their first WebEx with me, start dates just means this is when the box will open up and it will allow students to start submitting to this box. End date and due date, the difference between these. An end date will tell the student when this particular assignment is due, but it will allow them to keep uploading documents after that. On your end, what it'll do is it'll flag anything that's late with a little red flag, and it will tell you it's late. Again, everything is time-stamped. If you do, I'm sorry, that's a due date. It will allow you to keep uploading. An end date, though, will close it completely. So if you put an end date on here, what will happen is once we reach, so if we put an end date of tomorrow on this box will close tomorrow and no one will be able to access it again. So I would recommend for the purposes of kind of the situation we're in at the moment, if you want to put a due date on there, I would use due date, not end date. I would be very, very hesitant to use end date for anything during this particular semester, just because again, we're trying to be really understanding of our students and work with them. So is that clear, all your dates?
Kaylee, would that be functional for an exam? For example, if you had the start date and it be at the beginning of a particular time and then the due date, And the end date, or just start and end?
You can. The only thing is that, I mean, usually you'd want to put that in quizzes. There are options to do essay questions in quizzes, so they can access it in that way. So it might be just a little easier to utilize in the quiz than in an assignment.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and the last thing I want to show you here is special access. So you might have ADA accommodations that you have to make for a student, and if you decide to put a due date on something and you have to extend it for a particular student, the place you would go is right here. So special access, and then you would add the specific student to this box, and you would extend them whatever special privileges they need. So once you click into this, it'll give you a bunch of options, and one of them is going to be to extend out the due date. Scroll back up here. And then the last thing I want to show you before we save and close this box is this Turnitin tab. So this is in every single assignment folder that you build. And if you click on it, it gives you the option to enable grade mark. So if you click on this, what it will do is it'll allow you to use the grade mark system to make comments and things like that on the students' assignments. But what I really like about this is that it allows me to do this right here, which is enable originality checker for this folder. So what will happen is Turnitin will do a quick scan for kind of basic plagiarism issues. And then what it will do is it'll assign each student's work kind of like a it looks like what it ends up looking like at the end is a little bar that's color coded. And if it's red, then it'll say something like, 98% plagiarized or something like that, or it'll be in the green or yellow, depending on where the student falls. And what that will also do is if you look at it after it's done that originality checking, it'll actually hyperlink to you where it found those particular words. So if they copied it from Wikipedia, let's say, it'll run through it and then it'll give you a little pop-up in their document and it'll say, you know, here's the link to the Wikipedia paragraph that's exactly the same, which is a nifty little tool, which is why I also like to click this button here, which is under display, and it allows them to see their bar as well. So what this does is when a student wants to tell me they didn't plagiarize, that they did not copy and paste out of Wikipedia, I can tell them, well, go look at that bar beside your name and look at all the pop-ups, right? And that kind of gets rid of any of those conversations. It sort of stops them right where they are. So that is a really good option, and I would encourage you to use it. Just be careful because sometimes there are false hits here. So sometimes if you are an English instructor, let's say, and you have a student's paper uploaded here, the student is is dinged a little bit in the Turnitin similarity score because other people have used the same sources that they've used, and it's dinging it on the actual citation itself. So just make sure that you go in and look at it and you don't take whatever the score is at face value. Does that make sense to everyone?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is it similar to the actual Turnitin website where you can actually view the reports, or
Yeah,
is it just
yeah,
self
it'll give you the full document with everything
Okay.
highlighted and yeah, and like I said, it'll click you right out if you want to where it found the text, which is really nice. Yeah, I've had it where um unfortunately, I had a student and their paper popped up and it said it was actually a paper you could buy from this particular website.
Yeah.
So, and they had just changed their name. So, yeah, it gives you a really nice, robust report. And again, the student can see it too, which is why I like to click all of those display settings, because then I don't have to really have those awkward conversations. They can see it themselves.
Right, but it is good to make sure to look at the quote thing because, like, if several
Yes,
students quote the same passage, then it will
yes.
say it's plagiarism, and they're really actually just quoting from the text or whatever.
Exactly. So it is really, really important, again, not to take it at face value, to actually go in and look at everything. Especially for those of us, I'm just taking a quick look at the people who are in the room, but if you teach, for example, English 1301 or EDUC 1300, some of the more generic courses that you assign the same paper all the time. You know, we assign in EDUC 1300 the career exploration paper all the time. Well, you're going to find that they have a lot of similarities. Most of them are using the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so they're using the same facts over and over. So that's why it's really important to double check those things. And then you even have more options with Turnitin right here if you want to, and you can further adjust out if you want. Okay, any other questions about the Turnitin options here or the functions? Yes, Brenda notes that it also shows if the student submitted it to another campus. That's absolutely so, and I've also had that happen before. So it's nice to, I wish we didn't have to worry about that, but it's nice to have the proof right then and there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, since we've gone through all of our tabs, is I'm just going to do save and close. And now you see that we have our folder right here. And you see these little eyes, the little binoculars, that means Turnitin is turned on for that particular folder. And what you might see if you save and close is it looks like a closed eye or an eye with a slash through it. If you see that, it's because that hidden box was still checked and you have to go back into restrictions and take that check back out. We took it off during our example, but I'll actually show you guys that way because it's very, very easy to miss it when you make your first box. I will note, now that we've made this, I can't just click into the title. What that will do is actually bring me to where my students have submitted the work. So if I want to edit it, I'm going to go back. You want to click this little drop down beside the title. And then I'm going to do edit folder. So if you see that little closed eye, go to restrictions and unclick this box. But I just want to show you what it looks like when it is closed. See there? So if you ever see that symbol, that means it's hidden and you just need to go back and open that box up. So edit folder, restrictions, and then take that hide from user off. Save and close. Don't ever be afraid of making a typo or a mistake. You can always go back in and fix it. It's no big deal. I actually offer to my students, I'll give them a bonus point on their homework if they find a typo in my class. That way it becomes less, look at the mistake you made, and more, hey, can I have my bonus point? So it makes them excited and it makes my course better. So I would just, there's your little pro tip for today. Now, we have built out an assignment folder. The important thing to do at this point is we want to link it back into content. And here's why. Some instructors will leave all of their discussions in collaboration, and they'll leave their quizzes and assignments under course activities. And then what happens is it becomes like an Easter egg hunt for students to find all the different pieces of their class. Think about it this way. You would not invite students into class one day and say, so your assignment folder where you have to give me your paper is hidden somewhere around the room, right? You would not tell them that. So we don't want to do that in an online environment either. We want to make it really clear what they're supposed to do at any given time. And the best way to do that is by putting everything into content. So I'm going to navigate to content. And here you see I've arranged my content by weekly modules. You can arrange yours bi-weekly or by units, however you prefer to do it. But whichever module your assignment Dropbox should be in, you're going to want to navigate to it. And then once you're in it, what you'll do is come over here to add existing activities, choose that, click assignments, and then it's going to list all the assignments you've built so far. And all you have to do is click on it and scroll down. And there's my little assignment box. And let's say it's always going to add it to the end of your module. So let's say I didn't want it there. Let's say they're supposed to do this before they, I don't know, look at this discussion topic. what you can do is actually hover over these dots or squares beside the title, click and drag it upwards until you find where it's supposed to be, and then just let go, and it'll move it into place for you. Let's say I realized, whoops, I put this in week 1, but it was actually supposed to be in week 2. I can do the same thing, click and drag it, but this time pull it all the way over to my week 2 module and drop it there. And if my internet wants to work, it should drop it in there. There we go. So you see it went from 5 and 4 to 4 and 5. And if we go into week 2, we see our career exploration right here. And again, we can move it if we don't like where it is. Now, let's say you have a really big assignment. So for us in EDUC 1300, the career exploration paper can be a really big assignment. The last thing I want to do is wait until, let's say it's in week 3, is to wait until week 3 to remind them that it's coming up. Okay. In class, usually you remind them, right? You say, guys, don't forget, in 2 weeks you have this due, in 1 week you have this due, tomorrow this is due. Same principle in an online class. So what I can actually do is add the career exploration paper assignment to every week leading up to it if I want. So usually I'll do that a few weeks out. Once I tell them, hey, you should be prepping for this now, I'll add it to every module after that. So even though we have it here in week 2, I can go back to week 1 and add it here as well. So add existing activities, go to assignments, and career exploration paper. And then there it is. So, and usually what I'll do is up here in my description, I'll say, and just a reminder, you should be working on those career exploration papers. Don't forget, I'm going to put it in every week leading up to it. And again, that when we talk about online communication, it really cuts down on those emails that, or those conversations about, oh, I forgot all about it. It was in every single week leading up to it. You know, there's no way you could have forgotten about it. It was right there. I was drawing your attention. And then usually once it gets closer, I'll start bolding it, you know, in my description up here, just to pull their attention to it even more. Sometimes what I'll do if it's a big assignment is I'll make multiple Dropboxes or multiple assignment folders, and I'll have them do the first part in one and the second part in another, and then finally the full finished piece in the last one. And sometimes I won't necessarily grade those earlier ones. It's just to make sure they're keeping pace, or maybe I'll give them some sort of a completion grade. Again, it's just to kind of keep them on track as they're moving through the course. Any questions about anything linking into content or anything I just said? Okay, well, those are the basics of creating an assignment. So I am here to answer any questions you guys have. If you have anything specific you want to ask about your class, I'm actually going to stop the recording right here just so that we get that up and running for everyone online.